Hey everybody, this is Joseph Yamuni.
And this is Michael Garcia, and we're going to do a presentation for you guys on overhead variances.
There are two types of manufacturing overhead variances. The first type is the variable overhead efficiency variance. This variance measures the difference between the actual level of activity and the standard activity allowed, multiplied by the variable part of the predetermined overhead.
And the second of these variances is the variable overhead rate variance. This variance measures the difference between the actual variable overhead cost incurred during a period and the standard cost that should have been incurred based on the actual activity of the period.
For further explanation on these variances, we're going to start with the variable overhead efficiency variance, which is calculated to quantify the effect of a change manufacturing efficiency on a variable production overheads.
And for even more explanation, the variance is the difference between the actual hours worked and the standard hours allowed for the actual output. And the difference is multiplied by the variable overhead rates.
Now we're going to show an example of the variable overhead efficiency variance. This example gives you the number of units produced, which is 620, the standard direct labor hours per unit, which is 0.2, the actual direct labor hours used, which is 130, and the standard variable overhead rate, which is 940. And to start off, we're going to calculate the first two underlined of the equations shown above, which is the standard hours allowed for actual output at standard rate, and then we're going to also find out the actual hours at standard rate. So first, we're going to calculate the standard hours, which is the actual hours times the standard direct hours per unit. So as you can see, it's the standard direct hours per unit is 0.2, and then the number of units produced is 620. So you multiply that, and that gives you 124. So that's your standard hours, and the standard rate is given to you at $9.40, and you multiply those two together, and it gives you 1,165.6. And then for the middle part of the equation, you want to multiply the actual hours, which is 130, by the standard rate, which is the same as above. It's $9.40, which gives you a total of 1,222. To find the efficiency variance, the overhead efficiency variance. We're gonna subtract. We're gonna do 1,165.6 minus 1,222, which gives us an unfavorable efficiency variance of 56.4, $56.4. This is unfavorable because the expected spending is less than the actual spending.
The last of the two variable overhead variances is the rate variance. This is calculated by the middle and last formula underlines, which is the actual hours at standard rate and the actual hours at actual rate. In this example, we have the number of units produced, which is 620, the direct hour of labors per unit, which is 0.2, actual direct labor hours used, which is 1,100, standard variable overhead rate, which is $10, and actual variable overhead rate, which is $11.80. We don't need the first two numbers, so you can just ignore those. And we'll start by calculating the first of the two equations, which is the actual hours times its standard rate. The actual hours is given to you at 1,100, and you times that by the standard rate of $10, which again is given to you, and gives you a total of $11,000. The next formula would be the same as the actual hours given to you at 1,100 times the actual rate of $11.80. This gives you a total of 12,980. Then to find the rate variance, we would find the difference between the two. So we would take the 11,000 minus the 12,980, which gives us an unfavorable $1,980 because the expected spending is less than the actual spending. This concludes our presentation on variable overhead efficiency and rate variances.